Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the middle school Audion. This is pretty awesome new setup. We got speakers, we got AV. This is exciting. But the most exciting part, of course, is now the students have some incredible space in the Freeze lobby with some flex seating and just investing behind making sure our students have a great communal space. I think is the absolute priority, and we can have these meetings from anywhere. So thank you everyone in attendance and online for joining us. This is Tuesday, January 17th, our regular board meeting. And I'm going to tell you why I'm personally excited about our regular board meeting. First, this is when we get our student updates. So I'm excited to hear what's going on there. We also have an update on our equity action plan. So a 1-year update, which I know this team is excited to dig into, see how we're doing there. And then most importantly for tonight, and a special for tonight, we actually are going to receive a recommendation to move forward with our collective bargaining agreement with our Springfield Township Education Association. This is our teachers and our clinical staff. And I hear from our negotiating team on the board that the discussions were collaborative, really focused on outcomes, and totally aligned with the mission of the school district. And I just want to thank all of our teachers and professional staff for your engagement and all of the work that you do to ensure that we can actually achieve our mission as a district. So we're excited to have some discussion about that this evening. So with that, we will jump right in and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Our new logistics, the flag is to stage left. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading of the mission statement. The mission of the school district of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Let's go to roll call. Ms. Green.
Mr. Needleman.
Here.
Mr. DeFranco.
Here.
Dr. Etlin.
Here.
Mrs. Green.
Here.
Mrs. Hubley.
Here.
Mrs. Hughes. Mrs. Slapinski.
Here.
Dr. Taratuski. Mr. Bedard.
Here. Just one announcement. The board at its discretion may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in policy 006 meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following each board meeting. And now let's jump into reports and information. We have Angela Taufik, who's representing the Multicultural Parents Association. Hi, Angela. Are you online? All right. Well, if Angela is able to pop in later, we can always do this at the end of the meeting. But for now, we will keep things moving and head to our student report from Ms. Sarah Herzeg.
Springfield students and faculty celebrated Bus Driver Appreciation Day. They also had a visiting artist who worked with every class to create a piece of art and turned it into a larger installment. Before winter break, students celebrated the holidays with a school-wide sing-along. Students sang and played instruments in the drumline. On January 18th, the second grade students will go to the high school to view Miss Thornton's theater class performance. They're very excited to take the trip, see a portion of their theatrical production, and experience the talent of our own thespians. Third grade students at Erdenheim visited the Art and Theater in Philadelphia to see a production of Charlotte's Web. Fourth grade students took a trip to the Woodmere Art Museum. They created a collaborative piece of artwork as a class that was inspired by the exhibit led by Ms. Forjon. They also did research during the library of Ms. Schulteis to extend and deepen their learning experience. The school held its first Pride Awards assembly for each grade level. Students were recognized for demonstrating the school pillars: perseverance, respect, integrity, dependability, and empathy. At the middle school, Service Club organized a food drive fundraiser. The girls' basketball and cheerleading seasons are underway. Wrestling practice has started, and boys' basketball is holding indoor open gyms in preparation for their winter sports seasons. Students had the opportunity to audition for Spartan Share, where they will be able to perform. The students involved in the spring musical, The Wizard of Oz, have been practicing and preparing for their performance. And the high school held its winter concert on January 12th with various musical groups performing. Around 75 students prepared and participated in the concert.
Any comments or questions from the board? Great. Well, we have two committee updates. First, our policy committee meeting report, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hubley.
Okay, thank you. So the policy committee reviewed several of the 800 policies. 4 of those policies, 800, 810.1, 810.3, and 827 are still under review by the solicitor. So they will come up at another board meeting to be approved. But tonight there are several new policies that will be approved as recommended. And also a couple policies that are revised policies that need to be approved also. And then we have a couple policies that are retired. We have the old 810.2 that will be retired, the 817, 818.1, 820, and the old 828. And previously we had already adopted some of the new policies in the 800s. I believe, aside from those 4, that's the end of the 800s, right? Yes, so that is what happened at the policy committee.
Thank you, Ms. Hubley. Any comments or questions from board members? All right. And this one is hot off the presses because the meeting was this morning. We'll head to our property committee meeting report from Mr. Neil DeFranco.
Thank you. We had the property committee meeting this morning, 8 a.m. It was on Zoom. In attendance was myself, Dr. Atlin, Dr. Taratusky, Mr. Needleman, Mr. Bedard, and from the administration, Dr. Yannicone, Mr. Thorne, Ms. Green, and Ms. Jenko. We had quite a few discussions, starting off with some projects to be completed this summer for the middle school. This will include athletic field renovations. The existing track around the football field is beyond its useful life. It's going to be replaced, including the wearing course, and it will have a rubberized surface. One of the issues with this track that anybody who uses it is likely aware of is that it's not a standard 400-meter track. Unfortunately, we're unable to replace it with a standard 400-meter track due to space limitations and the fact that it would impact some of the surrounding fields. The size of the track, while it's not regulation, does suit the needs of the middle school programming. So we're going to leave it as is and just upgrade it. In addition, let me just pull up some additional notes here. In addition to the track, we're going to be extending a sidewalk that leads to the track, including an ADA ramp. Field goals will be replaced. The existing concrete bleachers at the track are going to be restored. And we're going to evaluate the bleachers on the other side at that lower field used primarily for lacrosse. Not sure if they'll need updates or not, but they'll be reviewed at least. A shot put pit is going to be installed, and then the high jump area will be improved. And we're going to get a new long jump, triple jump as well. And hopefully the improvements to the lower field will improve drainage. Apparently the middle of that field has settled in recent years, and once it's leveled appropriately, it should bring the water away from the field and hopefully keep it a little bit drier. Over at Erdenheim, an accessibility ramp is going to be installed. The accessibility ramp will connect basically the 2 playgrounds and then go by way of the cafeteria to improve student access for the cafeteria, both inside and outside areas, as well as improve egress out of the school during emergencies. Over at the high school, we have approximately 40,000 square feet of roofing that need to be replaced. There have been active leaks in recent years, and it's out of warranty, so it's time to perform that update. All of these are going out for bid in March. The expectation is that they'll be completed over the summer. for as little disruption to school activities as possible. High school pool, the acoustical sound improvements, they're looking into getting quotes to treat the ceiling and the walls to sort of limit the echoing that we experience over at the pool now. And then internally, the in-house personnel will be upgrading the PA system to improve the sound there. We also had a presentation about this is a larger project for the future over at the middle school. This would be a larger scale renovation and addition. The presentation was given by Dr. Yannicone. And it's basically discussing the potential spaces that could be used to improve academic programs, to further align with the district's educational goals. Some areas that we're looking to improve our classrooms, possibly a clinical suite, improved auditorium, large group rooms, reconfigured music rooms, space for meetings that are small and a little bit more versatile. And then, of course, reorganizing PE and health areas, possibly repurposing music rooms and the fitness center. The project goals and the specific details are going to be discussed and clarified further in the future, including at academic affairs meetings and finance meetings. And then the project concepts and renderings will be identified and presented by architectural firms. An RFP will go out to collect the ideas from those architectural firms in the coming months. The transportation facility assessment is ongoing. We've been looking for a new bus depot for quite some time. That continues. The transportation director is working on determining the size of the new site and the design of a new facility. And of course, we are actively searching for available property and receiving input from the township as well. On our agenda for vote tonight is a replacement for a bucket truck that is no longer usable. The replacement has been identified. The new unit fulfills the original needs of the bucket truck. And then this one, the added benefit is it can be used indoors as well. And then the district security services vendor, we are currently evaluating services provided versus what our needs are, and we're interviewing other campus security providers. On to the Church Road athletic fields. Work is substantially complete at this point. Fields are ready for play. The middle school spring sports will start the second week of March. And the ribbon cutting ceremony will be on Thursday, April 13th. More information on that to follow. And that concludes my report.
Wow, that was a lot this morning's meeting. Any comments or questions from our board members? I just want to comment that a bucket truck that can be used indoors as well is pretty awesome.
It sounds like a battery powered unit.
All right, any other comments, questions? All right. Well, now we'll move into our administrative reports and I'll turn it over to Dr. Yannicone.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. Happy New Year, everyone. It's nice to see you all in our new space for board meetings. And I want to acknowledge Mr. Thorne, Mr. Oliver, and our technology and facilities teams who've just done a wonderful job in converting this space for us. So thank you very much. I'm going to begin in the personnel area and speak a little bit about Kathy Van Voren. Yesterday morning, I had the bittersweet experience of sharing Dr. Kathy Van Voren's good news with our community. Kathy is attending the Coatesville Area School District's board meeting this evening, where she will be introduced as their next superintendent of schools. On behalf of our administrative team, the staff, and families, I would like to publicly congratulate Kathy on reaching this milestone in her professional career. There will be future opportunities to recognize and celebrate Dr. Van Voren, as she will be with us until the end of February. I also am very pleased tonight. We have with us Nicole Schrage. I'm pleased to recommend Nicole, an 18-year veteran of Springfield Township Schools and a strong and talented Spartan, as our new supervisor of special education and off-campus programs. If approved, Nicole will assume her new role in March. after a transition plan for her current role can be finalized. Nicole brings a wealth of experience to this position, which will primarily serve residential students enrolled at Carson Valley and students placed by the district in off-campus programs. Our administrative team is thrilled that Nicole emerged from a pool of over 30 applicants as the person best poised to lead our district in this new area of responsibility. Nicole will work with Dr. Van Voren and Dr. Johnston in the coming months and report to the new Director of Student Services moving forward. So welcome, Nicole. Thanks for being here this evening. I'd also like to reference the STEA collective bargaining agreement, as Mr. Bedard did. I want to thank our leadership team of Kristen Ward and Patrick Cody, along with their building representatives and the entire membership, for the collaborative and forward-thinking approach they took throughout the negotiations process for the proposed CBA, which is on your agenda for approval this evening. We have recently emerged from perhaps the most challenging and tumultuous period in recent memory as an educational institution. Our professional staff, composed of teachers, our clinical team, and extracurricular leaders and advisors, has demonstrated a genuine commitment to our students and community throughout the pandemic. The leadership team has been forthright in their presentation of needs for our staff, and we've worked together to develop an agreement that serves both the needs of the staff and the hopes of our students. I'm grateful that our board members who served on the negotiations committee were accessible, thoughtful, and responsive as we reviewed the best plan for the continued success of our schools through the summer of 2027. This agreement provides stability for our staff and our community for the next 4 years, and I look forward to continuing to work collaboratively with the leadership of STEA and the board on behalf of our students and families. So thank you very much. Also on the board agenda this evening is the health and safety plan. A requirement of continued access to ARPS or funding is a biannual review and recommitment to a published health and safety plan. Our school nurses, Dr. Lutz and Ms. Kerr, and I have reviewed current information from the CDC and local data and agree that staying the current course is appropriate. We will continue to update our COVID-19 dashboard regularly, which is available on our website under the Health Services tab. Also happy to report this evening that on your agenda is a negotiated contract with ATI Physical Therapy for athletic trainer services at both the middle and high schools. And we are hopeful that they will be successful in identifying and hiring great candidates for both programs after this evening's board approval. As Ms. Hubley mentioned, we have had continued work on our policy review. We're continuing to make great progress on this comprehensive review of all district policies. Tonight, we are bringing forward most of the 800 level policies first reading. We plan to complete the 800 level and conduct the 900 level review, which will be the final set of policies over the next 2 months. I'm grateful to our policy committee members, our administrative team, and my assistant, Luann McKenna, for the time and attention it has taken to work our way through hundreds of policies over the last 18 months. And finally, in my report, January is Board Recognition Month, and I want to express my gratitude to each of you for your dedication to our students, their families, our staff and administration over the past year. We are truly blessed in Springfield to have 9 board members whose sole focus in serving on the board is the best interest of our school community. This year, I have asked Springfield Township High School teacher, Allie Proto, to provide tokens of appreciation for each of you. And so I want to introduce her and her students to share a little about their efforts to help me recognize our board members this year. Mrs. Proto, you could use the microphone right here at the table. And we'll be happy to have you talk a little bit about what the students are about to present to our board members.
I'm going to use my notes.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, I'm Allie Proto. I have with me Warren Sharp, Kenneth Farron Smith, Nicole Schrage, and Barbara Lawler. The gratitude boxes are curated to mirror our spring work-based learning pop-up shop. We do a winter one. I'll do a shameless plug for that at the end. Which offers staff district-wide the opportunity to purchase a spring rejuvenation box. Students work to find which items to include, contact community partners to collaborate, determine a price point, and all the many steps involved with creating and selling a product. This hands-on learning experience is one of the many offered to our transition readiness and post-secondary students. I guess I should tell you what's in the box. Inside the boxes are the following items. So a personalized student crafted drink coaster set that are personalized with your last name, a seltzer water, a metal straw, a reusable utensil set, vinyl Spartan decals, which are purchased from our Unified Bocce team fundraiser, seeds harvested from our work-based learning gardens at the high school, chocolates, mints, a Spartan mindfulness challenge, a calm strip, and a weekly gratitude journal pages with access to print more. So the students who worked on this project are listed or are below. So it's Layla Alfonsi, Philip Brown, Stephen Brown, Ryan Clements, Litzy Castillo Vega, Grace Koppel, Jehu Crowdy, Kenneth Farron Smith, Luke Scalero, and Warren Sharp. And in the winter, we do an elf on the shelf kit. So, and we do jobs throughout, but those are our big projects that have almost become annual. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ellen. So our students are going to present you with your gratitude boxes. I'll just show you. This is what they look like and have been packed again by all of our students with lots of goodies for you and Spartan swag, which you know we love. And I also want to just thank Allie and Nicole for their leadership. One of the things that is great about the program that Allie runs is that our students get real life work experience, and it's also helpful with transition. And so, as Allie mentioned, right before the holidays, you can order an elf on the shelf kit. So for families watching today's meeting, you don't have to do all that hard work of figuring out what to do with your elf on a regular basis. I hope no children under the age of 11 are watching right now. They will help you to plan that. And then in the spring, they have a spring rejuvenation box, which is wonderful. I've ordered them myself. So here are your gratitude boxes. Okay. These are our mindfulness challenges, yes? Excellent. 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 To our students, thank you very much for all your hard work in prepping these boxes and for coming tonight to present them. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, once again, thank you very much. I truly appreciate the work of our students. Mrs. Proto jumped right in when I asked if the team could put together these boxes. So I really appreciate her hard work and thoughtfulness about what should go into the boxes. And hopefully the board will feel the gratitude that we have for you and your leadership every year, especially in this last year. So thank you very much. And I said to Mrs. Proto and to our students, you are welcome to stay, but you are encouraged to go if you would like to. It's entirely up to you. Before I transition to our Spartan Spotlight. So thank you once again. I greatly
If I
appreciate
could,
it.
if I could,
course.
guys, on behalf of the board, thank you so much. This is probably one of the most thoughtful and meaningful gifts in any context. And it means so much that you put energy and work and so much thought into this. So thank you very much.
We'll make sure you get the email for the free sale.
Yes, for Ally's sake, I will say all proceeds from the boxes go to support our programs for our students. Thank you very much. Thanks again, students. All right, and so I'm going to transition with Dr. Lutz. We have our Equity Action Plan presentation, so I'm just going to move over here. All right. Oh. Mr. Wexler is going to make sure that my screen is able to be shared. Right, I see it coming up. So welcome everyone to our first annual board report on the Equity Action Plan. You may recall that our Equity Action Plan was approved last year after some consultation work with the University of Pennsylvania and the Delaware Valley Consortium for Equity and Excellence. After a series of interviews were held with students, staff, and families, as well as public meetings during the fall of 2021, leading up to the development of this 3-year Equity Action Plan. Last year around this time, we set forth an ambitious 3-year plan for increasing equitable practices in the district. This plan included annual goals and communication checkpoints. We're very excited to be here tonight to share with you the progress that our district has made over the past year and provide information on our roadmap to the future.
So several years ago, our district committed to increasing equity within our district in a strategic and systematic way with various goals that were embedded in our equitable practices. Okay. So on this slide, you can see our multicolored tree with the deep roots that represents our commitment and our hopes for equitable practices within our district. We want equity at the root of everything that we do, and we want Springfield to be recognized as a caring community rooted in equitable practices, which is part of our overall mission statement. So you may be asking yourself, how did we get here? And we want to take a minute to revisit our past, because it helps inform us into our future and our work here in equitable practices. So many of you will remember back to September 2019, before my time period, but when the Springfield Township Board of School Directors adopted the equity vision statement. And really this vision statement became the impetus for all of our work. And so during the COVID shutdowns, the district had to pivot our work to better ensure that our students had equitable access to the technology, to their education, and also making sure that we were providing access to food, sharing our best practices with our staff members through professional development, and then using our clinical support team, which we really value here in Springfield Township, to make sure that we were outreaching and connecting with our families. Then in the fall of 2021, we partnered with the DVCEE, or the Delaware Valley Consortium for Excellence and Equity, and we undertook a quality review of everything that was going on here in our district.
The DVCEE is overseen by the University of Penn. We maintain that partnership through today. And they use their prior research and a lot of best practices that they had cultivated to really help us conduct an audit to find out where we were as a district, and then also to get feedback from our students, our staff members, our community members, all of the stakeholders here in Springfield Township to find out where we wanted to go. And ultimately, it's this work that we started in 2021 that led to the Equity Action Plan in January of 2022. And as Dr. Yannicone shared, this was an ambitious 3-year plan with a lot of goals and milestones for us to meet along the way. And that was approved in February of 2022. And since then, our work has only exploded. From March to October, we've made an increased effort to share the plan and resources with all of our staff members. We've increased our communication throughout to our staff, to our families. We've done quarterly newsletters. We've had professional development sessions. We've gone to faculty meetings. We've called separate meetings. We've had team member meetings. There's been a ton of professional development. We've offered a lot of resources to our staff that they can access through our flex programs on their own time, in their building meetings. And all of this work has led us back to where we are tonight and sharing out what we've accomplished through the Equity Action Plan. Slide. Okay. So while our district has accomplished many of our official equity goals, we also want to celebrate the ways that diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging have been embedded in our everyday culture. And so there's no better way to do this than to show you some pictures of things that have been going on around our district. This fall, our multilingual families and our World Cultures Club came together to celebrate International Dinner Night. If you weren't there, there were tables of food that everyone could try. And it was a really great opportunity for our students and our staff to come together, break bread, and to also just, be with one another. We had translators there. Families were able to get together. We had clubs that ran activities for the kids. It was a really great night. At Erdenheim, we have Spartan Pride Time, which I'm sure you've heard about before, but it's a really great way for our students to get together, and they get to see new and maybe some unfamiliar staff members and build connections with them and other students throughout the building, which offers them a unique opportunity to do an activity that they love while also meeting some new people. Last spring, we had an Encanto sing-along that was very well attended. It offered families an opportunity to get together and bond over a movie. We had lots of kids singing and dancing in the aisles, which was great to see. And at our middle school, our students are leading the way and helping new families acclimate to the building. If you attended the middle school orientation night, we had students talk about their shared interests and activities so that they were able to share that with the families and get new families coming into the building involved. Our partnership with parent groups has provided families opportunities to learn about diverse books through our read alouds. And our high school has endless opportunities for kids to participate. I was just over at the high school. We're over 45 clubs that are all displayed. Every single club has their own banner in the hallways so that kids know what they can join, and just that they're a sense of that greater high school community. So no matter where you turn, our student belonging is on the rise.
So year one of the action plan had 8 defined goals as part of the plan. The first goal was to adopt and enforce an educational equity policy. On February 15th of last year, the Springfield Township Board of School Directors adopted an official policy that provides key definitions for equity, inclusion, and belonging, and ensures that the district is continuing the momentum of the equity action plan through professional development, hiring practices designed to encourage diverse applicants, and a curriculum that provides for diversity in materials and assessments. We continue to rely on Policy 832 to guide our equity work. Next slide. One of our goals was the identification of a central office administrator responsible for reviewing and overseeing leadership of the Equity Action Plan. Last spring, we hired Dr. Michelle Lutz as the Director of Support Services, which includes this area of responsibility. Michelle has worked diligently to learn about the amazing students and staff that we have here in the district and to work collaboratively with the buildings to engage in professional development sessions, provide equity resources, and to share out the work of the Equitable Practices Committee on a quarterly basis. Dr. Lutz and I lead the equity team, who continue to refine our work to stay current and provide our staff and families with best practices as they relate to equity, inclusion, and belonging.
So a plan without consistent and meaningful communication easily fades into the background, as we all probably know. But that's one of the great things about our Equitable Practices Committee is that everyone on that committee is really committed to ensuring that this work not only is taking root within our district, but also bringing it back to the building level. So they're asking those questions in those meetings. How can we make this more equitable? How can we make sure our students belong? And really pushing their administrative teams and their faculties there to make sure that this is really embedded. With the support of our district administration, including Dr. Yannicone, all of our buildings and every single department received a presentation on the Equity Action Plan, and they were able to hear about the goals and the purpose of this plan. And then we also have the quarterly newsletters that we share out with our families across the district. And then within all of that communication work, we've revamped our website. We've updated some of the goals, kind of combined some of them, moved some of them forward going into the next year that we've seen need continued work. And we've provided resources for families. We try to share with them all of the events that they can get involved in, and then books so that they're at home reading diverse options, which are all available here in our libraries in Springfield Township. We want to make sure that all of our students have the opportunity to increase their cultural understanding and their empathy. And in addition, our building level professional development opportunities for staff members include a Google Classroom of curated equity resources that is available for flex professional development hours. One of the goals that came out of our teacher feedback was the need for resources and professional development in supporting conversations in the classrooms with students around difficult topics and equity. And while this goal is ongoing and has become embedded in our larger professional development plan, we were able to get out and give all of our staff a facilitating difficult conversations PD and some resources around how to support students in the classroom. In addition, we also recognized our LGBTQ plus population, and we've made resources available to our staff on being more gender inclusive in their classrooms, and then also working collaboratively with the Office of Teaching and Learning to make sure that our curriculum materials are diverse and support accurate cultural perspectives from a wide variety of backgrounds. Obviously, our work in this area is going to continue in future years of the Equity Action Plan, and we'll share strategies to continue building confidence and trust in our staff to help them, address concerns as they arise. Next slide, please. One of the most important goals of the Equity Action Plan was our ability to hear student voices. And I had the unique privilege of being able to meet with members of our administration team with a lot of the affinity groups at the middle and high school to hear their feedback on their school experience. And that was really great because they were able to express freely how they felt about a lot of different topics around the school, whether that was participation in clubs and activities, their feeling about sports, how new students feel about coming into our school. And this is one area, as you can see, that we've noted that we need to make continued growth. We want to keep hearing from our students, especially because we took away some really great action items from those conversations. Next slide. So here's some direct quotes that we received from the students. They were really honest and reflective in their feedback. They shared about the great teachers that they have and how most people have a go-to person in the building, and that the teachers were on the front line of stopping inappropriate verbal behaviors, which was really great for all of us to hear. Students also shared where they felt the curriculum was lacking in diverse perspectives and options, including coursework to learn about conflicts around the world and to learn about the impact of their backgrounds, whether it was race, religion, or ethnicity. For instance, we heard from some families and some students that our social studies program doesn't offer anything about the Israeli-Palestine conflict or about the genocide in Africa or South Africa, which was something that many of our students expressed with us that they wanted to learn more about. We heard from students that they love the diversity here in Springfield and that they love our focus on social skills. A lot of kids specifically mentioned some of the programs that they've gone through. But that learning right from wrong in school doesn't take away from the fact that students learn hatred at home and that social media helps to perpetuate those beliefs. We really feel like the students did a great job of pointing out that our schools can only do so much in fighting hatred when there's adults at home that don't share the perspective that diversity helps our community become stronger. So a lot of these conversations with the students were really humbling, and we took away as an administrative team really great information, and we look forward to continuing to engage in those talks. Something else that we're also doing to hear more student voices is we've been administering surveys through Panorama, which is an online platform that allows us to compare some of our questions to nationally normed data. And that's been really helpful for us because we've been able to get a better understanding of student perspectives and how we can grow as a district.
One of the areas that we received a great deal of feedback about is communication from families in particular during the evaluation process leading up to the EAP. So communication is a large part of the plan. During year one, we listened to families and learned how to best share important information. Feedback from families has indicated that they often felt overwhelmed by the amount of information we were sending home. So we've moved to weekly e-blasts sent from our individual schools. And each week, the schools use the same SMORE format to put together an interactive newsletter that focuses on building events, providing community resources, and sharing out district information. Communications from central office administrators are sent through these building-based newsletters to streamline all communications, so families only have to look for one thing. SMORE allows our administrative team to view analytics on the information that we send, including how many families receive the communication and what links are clicked on. This helps us share information and determine family needs. In addition, our team has dedicated time to updating and clarifying our website so that it's more accessible and useful for families, including making our materials available in a variety of languages for families who speak multiple languages. Most recently, Dr. Johnston completed a curriculum project of updating our K-8 course guides and providing them in multiple languages. In the upcoming months, our 9 through 12 course guide will be updated similarly and will reflect similar language accessibility in time for next year's course enrollment. Another year one goal, next slide please, was to create a system for collecting feedback regarding our parent-teacher conference process. A huge thank you to the many families who have participated in our conference surveys during the spring and fall of 2022. In total, we collected over 350 surveys from families about the conference process and made the survey available to families in 6 different languages. While this feedback was overwhelmingly positive and focused on the great relationships that our teachers have with students, we also learned about the challenges of attending conferences and the length of time provided for individual conferences. Administrators are continuing to review this information as they plan for our spring 2023 conferences. So we greatly, again, appreciate families providing support and feedback through those surveys.
So our final goal from year one of the Equity Action Plan was to provide training on equitable practices across our district. And one of the things that we quickly realized was that it was important for our work to spread into the buildings as opposed to having a standalone equitable practices committee. And so that's what we've really focused this year on, is making sure that buildings have identified their key people, which were the people who were coming to equitable practices, so that they can participate in meaningful ways in their building to spread this work and make sure that everything that we do is rooted in equity. To that end, we partnered with our home and school groups and the Multicultural Parents Association so that we're sharing out about our equity action plan at those meetings, so that we're also hitting that audience and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to hear. We've asked our longtime building equity representatives to start shifting into those building meetings. And then our dedicated committee members are bringing forth equitable actions at all of their staff meetings and in their buildings to make sure that that work is really rooted in everything that we're doing. And so some of those members are serving on curriculum committees, they're planning professional development, they're sharing out their best practices, they're pointing people in the right direction of where they can ask questions and access resources. In addition, we made sure that our buildings either have received or will be receiving in upcoming months the trauma-informed training that's focusing on the premise of trauma-informed strategies are just best teaching practices, and that they should be utilized in the classroom for all of our students. In other words, we don't have to know that a student has trauma in their background in order to best serve them. And overall, we're proud of the work that we've accomplished during the first year of the Equity Action Plan. And we also recognize that there's still areas for continued growth and improvement. We've spent a lot of time and energy focused on equitable practices and have truly accomplished our year one goals. Next. Thanks. So in addition to the plan goals, we've been busy behind the scenes with some other projects. We didn't just stop at the bulleted list of goals. And one of those projects was that we worked with our PIMS coordinator to create a district dashboard. Those are some screenshots from the actual dashboard that we can access. And this allows our administrative teams to view in real time our student enrollment numbers. And we have a lot of access into information, so we can get information by school, grade, race, multilingual, special education status. This really helps us better understand disproportionality, and it allows us to see how different decisions impact our student population. Our goal as we move into year two is to have this data dashboard be utilized to help us better understand and use that disaggregated data to improve student outcomes. Okay, next slide. As a district, we're very pleased that we were asked to present at 2 different conferences on our equity work here in the district. As a longtime member of DVCEE, this July, a team of administrators presented on student belonging at Springfield Township. We had a great turnout to our session where we shared about our 4 buildings, the goals, successes, and areas for growth within our equity action plan to some of the other member districts and people who attended that conference. And then in December, myself and Dr. Yannicone were lucky enough to present at the International Q10 Equity and Education Framework Conference. There were attendees from around the globe. Many of our staff members also got the opportunity to come to the presentation. And we shared the amazing work that we're doing here in Springfield Township. And we also gave other districts a roadmap for how they can get their equity work started. So upcoming, in an effort to provide our community with an easy to process format in reporting out on our equity goals, we'll be releasing the Equity Action Plan report card. This report's going to be shared, embedded into the winter quarterly equity newsletter, which will be ready to go when we have this presentation, so that we can include that as well for anybody who wasn't able to attend tonight. And it's designed to provide digestible information to everyone about all of the goals. There's a progress indicator check mark on there with different colors and a narrative of our district's efforts to complete the specified goals. And so this report card will also be posted on that updated Equitable Practices website.
So we would also be remiss if we didn't mention the work the district has done to address our families who identify as living in poverty. In many ways, COVID-19 has expanded our thinking about community supports for our families. We want to recognize that according to our most recent census data, and this was just released in the last few weeks, approximately 1 in every 4.5 families in our district receives free or reduced lunch due to their reported household income. Overall, since the 2019-2020 school year, our district poverty rate has increased from 19.6% of our families to 22.67% of our families. As part of our equity action plan, we will consider how our district needs to incorporate best practices into our work for honoring families and their financial commitments to our district. We want to recognize that students face financial barriers to participating in activities and feeling a sense of belonging, and we are committed as a team to removing these barriers in feasible and fiscally responsible ways. But most importantly, we also want to bring community awareness to the fact that in many of our practices, we are biased towards families who can afford to participate, and we want to actively work to identify and remedy this situation, including in field trips, school supplies, activity fees, and extracurricular events that place cost burdens on some of our families. Next slide. We are very proud to share that we already have a head start on many of our year 2 goals. So tomorrow starts year 2. The district, in partnership with Dr. Sophia Rodriguez, has designed an online belonging survey that will be administered to students in grades 3 through 12 3 times per year. This survey will help inform our work on increasing student belonging in the district. Our district continues to navigate the best ways to collect and review data on achievement. We currently use the Linkit system to house and review our collected data and are in the process of identifying systems for overall student data tracking. More information is going to be shared during our spring academic affairs meeting, which is coming up at the end of this month and early in February. As we shared earlier, course overviews are available now in multiple languages for grades K through 8 and will soon be available in those same languages in grades 9 through 12. As a district, we continue to simplify and focus our communication to families and ensure that our website is accessible for everyone, including those that speak multiple languages. In addition to our goals already in progress, we are looking to work with our established MTSS teams, multi-tiered systems of support teams, to make sure that our systems are accurately identifying and supporting students in needs, academically, socially, behaviorally, and for attendance and mental health concerns. We are continuing our work to diversify and retain great staff members, and we are continuing our goal to improve safety for marginalized students through our work with affinity groups, surveying students and families, and listening sessions. Year 2 is shaping up to be an exciting one for equitable practices in our district. And finally, I want to highlight the work of our Erdenheim Elementary School and Principal Dr. McLaurin and Assistant Principal Ms. Mack. They are working with their staff members, leaping into the future and already putting plans in place for year 3 goals of increasing enrichment opportunities at the elementary level for after-school participation. Again, this was a year 3 goal, but Dr. McLaurin and his team did not want to wait. So they have this year seen the addition of the Young Kings Club, which is focused on promoting equity and success for all, GLAM, a girls group focused on leadership and achievement options, and a Girls on the Run group to support healthy belonging in the community. We're so proud of their efforts and thrilled to offer expanding options and opportunities for our students at Erdenheim. I want to thank you all for your attention to our Equity Action Plan presentation, which has highlighted the 2022 calendar year. While we recognize the many accomplishments of our district, we also know that there remains much work to be done. However, by continuing to root equitable practices in every aspect of district life, we are confident that our staff, students, and families will help us to make sure that we continue to make progress that is lasting. At this time, we'd like to open up the presentation to any questions from board members. And I want to publicly thank Dr. Lutz. She has been with us since April. This was quite an undertaking in her first year in Springfield Township, and she has been outstanding. So thank you very much. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
I can start. First, thank you for the comprehensive presentation. And honestly, what a difference a year makes. I think we would all agree a year ago, having gone through COVID, we were probably a bit more distracted on making progress in the equity action plan than, well, in equity than we would have liked, but to have a plan put together and to see these tangible results in just the course of a year. Congratulations. And thank you, Dr. Lutz, for all of your work there and across the administration. I do want to acknowledge the thing I like most is transparency and accountability that you have built into this through the presentations, access to resources, and the ongoing feedback loops that you've built with both students and with parents. The only question I actually had, you answered already, which is the belonging survey and making sure that we are tracking like truly this, the end result, which will allow our students to feel most included through the belonging survey. So I was glad to see that will be going out for a baseline. Is that how I should understand that? Or will that be building off of our prior baseline?
It's actually building off a prior baseline, but because the questions are different, anyone who knows inter-rater reliability, we're looking at the surveys as two different tools. So for 4 years, we had the University of Pennsylvania Graduate School of Education's Catalyst Belonging Survey. Following those 4 years, we felt we wanted a more robust tool. No criticism to the University of Pennsylvania. It's an excellent tool, but we were looking for something with national data associated with it. In joining Panorama last year and developing a survey with Dr. Rodriguez and the team at Panorama, we now have the ability to not only make comparisons to local data, so baseline data was administered this fall or collected this fall, but we also now will have the ability to make comparisons to regional and national trends. And that's very helpful to us in determining where to put our energies, because as you know, it's difficult to hit on every area every year. And so in looking at our priorities, we use those survey points of data, as well as we take very seriously the meetings that our administrative team has with student groups and the feedback we receive from parents at our home and school meetings, at the Multicultural Parents Association, and at our parent advisory that Dr. Johnston and I meet with on a monthly basis. Those are our primary avenues of feedback from the community and from our students. And the students know that if they bring something up to us, there will be follow through.
Just mention one thing quickly, and I'll kind of piggyback on something that I said. The last year when we discussed this, the thing that I was most impressed and taken with the plan was its accountability. And Dr. Lutz said something tonight, a plan without action fails. And that's I think a lot of what we see here, right, is that there is accountability. There are processes in place. There's communication with students. The work continues, right? We have to continue to look after students in our marginalized communities and make sure they're safe. There's continuing work going on. That's what's, I think, most effective and frankly, most impressive about the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We recognize that this work will never be done. I think we spoke about this last year. I would love to say that there will be a day when we won't experience hatred or bias or acts against marginalized groups globally, nationally, locally, regionally. But we recognize that it's our responsibility to provide continued education and training for the staff, to provide continued education and training for our students, and to keep our families aware so that we can continue to move forward as a school community.
Thank you for representing our district so well at the two conferences that you mentioned. It's so important that we are able to share what we're doing here at Springfield. We're relatively small compared probably to some of the people that you presented. And it's good to see Springfield coming forward and recognizing the excellent administrators that we have, the teaching staff that I feel is superior to other districts where sometimes you don't really get recognized. It's good to see that we are now moving in that direction. And I think that's really important. That's how we attract people to our district. And that's how we attract fantastic teachers, just like the ones we have here. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Green. We experienced this past summer direct examples of diverse staff choosing to apply to Springfield from other districts because of their understanding of the working conditions and the climate, the social climate here in the district, and the commitment to equitable practices from the members of the board, the administration, the community, and families. So I appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you for the board's support of our attendance at these national conferences and regional conferences. As much as we enjoy presenting, we attend the conference in full. So we also learn a lot at these meetings that we attend. And we brought a team of about a dozen to the most recent national Q10 conference. And I think we all left with some new learning, which is fantastic for us. It's good to bring back strength to the district. Are there any other questions? All right. So as Dr. Lutz mentioned, a video of this presentation, which I apologize if it felt a little formal. We wanted to make sure because it was going out to the whole community that we didn't miss anything. But a video of this will be going out to the entire community in Dr. Lutz's winter equity newsletter, which will be out shortly, very shortly. All right. Thank you very much. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Yannicka. All right, we are going to flash back to the earlier part of our agenda and get an update on Multicultural Parents Association from Ms. Angela Beal Tuffy. Hi, Angela.
Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here always. I actually, as we say, diversity and equity in our district spans many things, right? How do we do it? So I actually have two reports, if you don't mind. One from our HTHSP, as well as our MPA. So if it's okay, that slight modification. Thank you. So first and foremost, from our Secondary Homeschool Parents Association, please mark your calendar for the next secondary HSP meeting on Thursday, January 26th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. The agenda will include the SDST equity plan and the details about the middle school's new positive behavior support project. Please register at https://URL I'll gladly share with you to attend. Also, we will be reaching out to the Springfield Township Middle School and the high school staff for submission of a mini grant applications for the 2022-2023 school year. So please support this benefit. If you have not yet become a member, by visiting the Secondary HSP Membership Drive site to join. Your membership dollars directly fund the enrichment programming, resources, awards, and celebrations that we have always been so proud of to provide. And as Dr. Yannicka and Dr. Lutz said, just being able to help support parents across the district is wonderful for that. So thank you so much. Our next, now I'll switch hats, but same hat. We just wear multiple hats. I'd like to share a report from MPA. MPA is excited to kick off another new year with several events honoring Black History Month. On Wednesday, February 8th at 6 p.m., we will host a Black History Month read aloud for K-5, 5th graders at the Erdenheim Elementary School. On Wednesday, February 15th at 6:30 p.m., we will host a family movie night at the Springfield Township Free Library. And on Tuesday, February 28th at 6 p.m., there will be a Black History Bee led by Miss Wright, one of our wonderful teachers, as we said, in the district. More information on each of these events will be available via individual school e-blasts. Forward-looking, we will hold our next MPA meeting on Thursday, March 16th at 6:30 p.m. Our location is TBD. And on Tuesday, March 28th at 6:30 p.m., our MPA book club will be meeting at the Springfield Township Free Library to discuss Crying in H Mart, a memoir by Michelle Zarner. To connect with MPA and stay up to date on all of our events, please visit our website at http://www.mpaspringfield.org. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, any comments or questions from board members? Thank you.
Oh, yes, and then of
Ms.
course we
Beal,
will do, I forgot about, right, International Water Safety Day, May 15th, but you know, we always get on to that next one.
Thank you. Appreciate the updates. All right, if I am correct on the agenda, and I know I will be corrected if I am wrong, we are up on public comments on agenda items.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bedard. No one has signed up to speak in person on agenda items. I don't see any hands raised online either. You speak on agenda items. I guess if you want to give it a minute to see if someone appears, I will just piggyback on something you said before and just remind everybody that we do have a 3-minute limit. And if you do want to speak, please let us know where you live in the district. Still don't see any hands raised. Okay.
Seeing no hands raised online and no hands raised in the room, we will move into the business of our agenda. First couple of items, fun and easy. We're going to do approval of minutes first from our December 6th, 2022 reorganization hybrid board meeting. Board motion, the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from the meeting that I just described, December 6th, 2022 reorganization board meeting. Is there a motion? And a second? Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Will pass. We'll move to item number 2, approval of minutes. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the board minutes from December 6, 2022 regular hybrid board meeting. Is there a motion? In a second. Any comments or questions? Hey, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good. We will move on to approval of treasurer's reports. First, approval of treasurer's report for the month ended November 30th, 2022. Is there a motion?
Motion.
In a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Item number 2 under treasurer's report, approval of the treasurer's report for the month ended December 31st, 2022. Is there a motion? In a second.
Second.
Comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We're going to move on to our next section, human resources, personnel, and HR contracts. First, our personnel file. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: administrative personnel, certified personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities, 2022, 2023, and conference workshop attendance. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Any comments or questions? I will take the opportunity on behalf of the board to congratulate Dr. Van Born for her new position in the Coatesville School District, and really appreciate that Ms. Schrage, who has a track record here in the district, is able to step in right away, giving us a level of continuity that is going to be really beneficial for our kids. All right. All those in favor of our passing our personnel files, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, personnel will pass. Item number 2 under human resources, the Springfield Township Education Association collective bargaining agreement. Recommended action. The Board of School Directors approves the collective bargaining agreement between the School District of Springfield Township and the Springfield Township Education Association effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2027. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Any comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Contract will pass. Congratulations. Item number 3 under HR is the high school independent contractors for the spring musical 2023. The Board of School Directors approves the independent contractor agreements with Becca Wexler, Niall Weber, and Nick Picknally for choreography and musical accompanist for the 2023 high school spring show. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Lots of excitement on this one. Is there a second? Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass. Moving on to academic affairs. Our first item is the reaffirmation of our health and safety plan. The Board of School Directors approves the updated 2022-2023 Springfield Township District Health and Safety Plan. Is there a motion? And second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the health and safety plan? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Health and safety plan will pass. Next, overnight field trip. The Board of School Directors approves an overnight trip for the high school baseball team to Fort Pierce, Florida, from April 1st through April 6th, 2023, for baseball camp to include team building, skill development, and scrimmage opportunities. Is there a motion? And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the overnight trip? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The overnight trip will pass. Moving to our finance section, ATI physical therapy. Recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the athletic trainer agreement with ATI Physical Therapy for the high school in the total base amount of $50,000 for 2022, 2023, and $100,000 for 2023, 2024. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the revised contract with ATI Physical Therapy? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good. Moving on to policy. As presented by Ms. Hubley at the beginning of the meeting, we have some policies to review. First, new 800 policies to be approved as recommended by the committee. Board of School Directors approves the first reading of the following 800 policies as recommended. And I will list the first and last number. And since this is a first reading, obviously everything can be reviewed in the agenda. We will look to approve 800.1, which is electronic signatures and records, and all the way through to 830, policy 830, which is breach of computerized personal information. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Any comments or questions on first reading of these 800 policies? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? First reading will pass. Subject number 2, revised 800 policies to be approved as recommended. Again, these are first readings. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of the following revised 800 policies as recommended. This will, it's just a handful here. I'll read them off. 801, public records. 806, child abuse. 810, transportation. 814, copyright material. 815, acceptable use of internet, computers, and network resources. 818, contracted services personnel. 819, suicide awareness, prevention, and response. And 823, naloxone or Narcan. Any comments or questions on the recommended approval first reading? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Oh, I didn't do a motion. All right, we're gonna go backwards. Just rewind that. Is there a motion on the first reading of the 800 policies I just listed?
Motion.
Motion is heard. Is there a second? Thank you. Because we now have the motion, I'm going to ask again. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, I'm going to get this one right. Our subject number 3, 800 policies to be retired. Short list, I'm going to read them again. The Board of School Directors approves the retirement of the following 800 policies. Old 810.2 school bus idling, 817 electronic signature, 818.1 contracted professional services, 820 bloodborne pathogens, old 828 screening of employees and contractors for exclusion from participating in federal healthcare programs. Is there a motion? And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on retirement of these policies? If I could just have someone from the policy committee remind us that the retirement of policies, why do we retire them?
We retire them because either they've been like implemented into another policy. So if you had a question, like I could tell you which ones they were now addressed by, but yeah, they get like addressed by another policy that we've created.
Ms. Hubley, I actually knew the answer. I just wanted to, like, for the record, it's helpful. So it's helpful to remind folks that we make sure that this is captured in, right, the content here was captured in our new policies. All right, all those in favor of the retirement of the 800 policies, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, we'll move on to property updates. We have equipment rentals. The recommended action, the Board of School Directors approves the purchase of a nifty lift bucket truck for a cost of $48,289 under CoStar's contract number 038024. Is there a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions on the nifty lift bucket truck?
I just have a question with regard to the CoStar's contract. Can you share what that is and is it the company or?
No, CoStar's is a cooperative purchasing and bidding for the state, so that there's state threshold levels that you have to go out and bid for equipment and furniture. So CoStar's is a state contract where that bidding already takes place, so we don't have to go through the bidding process because they met the requirement. So if it's a CoStar's company, as long as we have the CoStar's number and we acknowledge that, then we don't have to formally go out for bid.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other comments? Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good. Well, that takes us through the agenda items for this evening. We will now open up to public comment on non-agenda items. I'll turn it over to Mr. Needleman.
Thank you, Mr. Bedard. Similar to before, I do not see that anyone has signed up to speak on a non-agenda item in person. And I also don't see any hands raised online, but certainly if you're joining us online and you do want to talk on a non-agenda item, please raise your hand and electronically at least and let us know. And I will remind everyone that we do have a 3-minute limit on comments, and please let us know where you live in the district before you comment. And I don't see any hands raised. Okay, seeing no hands for public comment on non-agenda items, we'll just go through some future meeting updates and administrative details. Our future board meeting dates. We have an interim board meeting that's tentative for Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. That will continue to be a hybrid meeting.
and a regular board meeting that is not tentative. It will happen on Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. Please note that we do have a new location for in-person attendance. All meetings are now held in the Audion, which is located in the middle school cafeteria. Please enter the middle school Audion from the doors to the left of the cafeteria. We have future committee meeting dates on the calendar. Academic Affairs Committee will meet Monday, January 30th, 2023 at 5 p.m. This is a virtual meeting. And a Finance Committee meeting on Thursday, February 16th, 2023 at 8 a.m. Also a virtual meeting. All details for these meetings and how to register can be found on the district website. And with that, I want to thank the students again for such an incredible gift. I don't know if it's well-deserved, but it is truly appreciated. Serving the district is appreciation enough. And I want to thank the administration for a great update on the Equity Action Plan. Before we adjourn, I did want to ask any board members if you have any closing comments or anything to add. Okay, Dr. Yannicone, anything to add?
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you very much. We will adjourn our meeting for our January 17th regular board meeting. Thanks for coming.